Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with the 21 EMA. So I've got the overnight high up here and the overnight low down here. These are our key levels for the day. So I started trading at 8 Central Time, which is around this area right here, just before this swing formed. And so with this swing, let me drag this down to here. Now the overnight high kind of looks better here because it has a much more significant swing that it's from. However, the swing did form in the overnight session still, and so I just wanted to see how it held, and it actually did hold pretty well, so I just left it there. Um, Now, so anyway, starting here, we push out of the overnight high, and then we have a clear attempt to fade back in. So it's a clear leg down, we get a break, a second leg down. It's kind of choppy within that break, but we can still see what's going on there. Um, Now, I didn't want to enter on like this right there. Let me drag it down. I would not want to enter on something like that because it did push, pretty good back into the overnight in the overnight high. We had a pretty good push back in, then we closed below. So, I wouldn't want to do that. But with this right here, notice how we shot back above the EMA. Or whoops, I didn't mean to move that there. Two clear attempts to fade. So this is a failure entry because if you get two attempts to fade, then you can expect a failure if it's not fading successfully. It's already pushing back out. It's also the third bounce off of this trend line right here. So that's the third confirming touch. And of course, once again, a measured move down right there with a pretty good push above. So this definitely looks good for 1-to-1. Now, say that there was, like you see how we have these two small legs, and this second leg is obviously much longer. Now, let's just say for a sec that we had a clear leg up, clear break, and a second leg up. So when we push out here, it's really just pushing out in one leg. But if this had been pushing out here with two clear legs, we could expect a reversal more. But since we only had really one leg on a big picture, it's a very sharp move, even with both, even with that separation right there. So that just adds to the bullish momentum of this. If we had two clear legs up, then I would be a little bit more concerned with this chop right here, but given the context, I didn't mind that. So we push up here, we kind of stay inside of this uptrend for a little bit. We push on through though, and when we push on through, we don't quite retest. Now, what you'd want to see is a retest of the overnight high, kind of like what we did here, but on a bigger picture. Because if we had gotten two clear legs down right here to the overnight low, we could look to enter on the second attempt at a new high for this uptrend, because when an uptrend gets a break, you can expect prices to attempt a new high. And so a two-legged retest would have been great there. But instead, we get this push down, and then we instead make this double top. Now, let me draw something out really quick. Oh, I thought I wasn't recording. I looked over on the OBS, and I thought I wasn't recording. I got scared for a second there. All right, so anyway, now with these two legs down, it clearly is a two-legged break. However, since this is still kind of within this range structure, eventually I did extend these larger legs starting from here, which is, it's not really a surprise because it's a double top. You'll often change the start of the launch down on a double top, or of course on the inverse with the double bottom. But we had this two-legged break here. I do think you could have looked for a long. We had a pretty sharp rush into the overnight. Back into the overnight high, and so this looks like it's topping out right here. We had the uptrend break, attempting a new high. It didn't quite make it, but look at that reaction. It just rushed back like it's trying to fade. I would want to see a reversal pattern before continuing higher, but we do end up continuing on lower here without any real way to get in on it, because I wouldn't want to enter short directly into the overnight high just in case it does bounce and make a second leg up like that. But I also wouldn't want to enter right into these lows, so there's really just no room. So even on this right here, when you're holding below the overnight high, it's still right into these lows. So no way from me. I draw out this larger channel. We get this break. Now this area could confuse some people because, clearly we have these two measured legs, like a two-legged break from this downtrend. However, when we push lower here, we actually get a lower count, both with wick and body right there. Sometimes that will happen, but with the bigger picture, context, we clearly have a big push in, a break with two legs, measured legs, all within the same range structure. So I don't care that, this ticked lower and has a reset technically, but, like this might affect a scalp entry in some way, But on a bigger picture, I just see a downtrend, two-legged break, making this double top. Very strong reaction right there. Needed a limit order though, because if you entered with a stop on this, you would have to push it quite a bit out. And the reason I wouldn't want to push it out there at all is because, let me just get this drawn back out. Let me delete that. Sorry, one sec. This measured move, notice these two legs down there? This was the first measured move that I drew out, and then eventually as it got bigger, I drew out those larger ones. And so I wouldn't want to enter right into that previous measured move level that has already proven as very strong. We got a triple test off of it. Now, this triple test launched that a second leg in the two-legged break, so I was perfectly fine with, entering short right after, because once again, we had a very strong reaction, double top to clear two-legged break. I don't care if it was, formed after a triple test. We clearly still managed to shoot very hard below. So, but I did want to keep it within this measured move, this previous measured move, just to be safe. Now we do end up pushing on out, and then that's when it goes to this this wider measured move. Although I guess sorry, I didn't mean to remove that channel there. There we go. So we have this measured move down. There's the measured move line right there. I had it drawn slightly differently a second ago. I had it accidentally to there. It's supposed to be all the way down. But anyway, so we push on lower. Not really any clear entries on the way down, unfortunately. Once we reach this measured move level, look at that reaction. There's nothing clear off of it to enter on. But I'm just saying, these measured move levels are important. That's why you're getting a reaction right there. Now we push on lower here. We break out of the overnight low. Now this is an area that you can expect a fade. Ideally, you would get a failed second entry pushing back in, because if you can expect a fade, what's better than entering on a failure entry to continue with that fade? However, we don't get that. We push above. We basically bounce off that previous measured move level. It's about a tick away from breaching it, but it looks like that's what's happening there. And instead of forming a failed second entry, we kind of, we get this first entry short, and then it just gets all choppy, and there's no clear entries. I'd like to see a good push above and then two clear legs back. And oftentimes, when you have a measured move down like this, and of course on the inverse this works as well, but if you have two legs down like this and you break out and you're in a reversal area, such as an overnight low, you can oftentimes get a failed second entry that's holding on that previous measured move level. So that's just something to think about. Try it. When you go through your charts, try to spot that and try to draw out these measured moves and see how price reacts to them. But then here, of course, there's no short either. There's no way that you could, take this short safely here. You have a leg up and then a very choppy sideways leg up, above the EMA, and really no reason to go short. It's right into the overnight low. There's just no way. And so we push on lower here. This range, it wasn't like the best holding range, but it was clearly some kind of sideways structure here at these lows. And so we push lower here. We push on up. Once again, if we could have gotten a failed second entry here, we could have got something. If we could push out, hold up above this range line with maybe some room to this trend line, because it would be a small trade, but you could look for something there. But anyway, we don't get that. We push on up. We barely don't reach that high and just drop on down. Very choppy and sideways. Really no way to get in on this. This is just, sometimes there's a lot of movement without any clear entries, and that's just part of trading sometimes. And make sure not to get riled up about it and antsy and wanting to take something, because that's how you end up forcing a trade. The point is just to get a little piece every day, not catch as much movement as physically possible. But anyway, so we push out here, we start fading back up. Now, with this higher low, this low down here, it's like there's no real reason to extend this low of this range down to here, because there's not any consistency on that level. But you have this push up, you drag that trend line off of it, it does match right there, but there's a problem, which is that in the moment it would actually start overshooting, and then it would be into it, and it just got choppy, and overshoots lead to breaks, and we have this one, it's a pretty good push down right there. It's small picture, but given, this small picture area, that's a pretty good move down. I would not want to take that after a first entry. So, if this could only have been a little bit bigger picture, we would have room for a second leg down, and then absolutely we can look for something here, but this particular setup is not ideal. But it does launch on up. That's the thing. Sometimes, one time someone commented, they were saying, which this wasn't recent or anything, but it was, you say, it works out here. I hear you say that all the time, but then you say not to take it. But it's like, well, just study the chart. There's going to be great looking setups sometimes that don't work. Which they're not going to be great looking setups, but they may appear that way. I'm just, sometimes people are giving me a hard time about that. It's not very many people, and it doesn't happen often. I just don't deal with those kind of comments. But anyway, we push on up here. We, continue that overshoot. I extended this range, this uptrend a little bit, but it didn't hold. We push on out. Let me extend this again here. We fade back in, but there's really no clear way. Even though you're right into this trend line here, even though you overshot it, you're entering right into it after 2 legs down. So if I don't think that this looks like a good short here. I know I'm probably going to get asked about that, but you already have 2 legs down right there. So it's like you're entering at the low of the move. I would want to see like a larger push down with 2 clear legs back. That way you get a failed second entry expecting to make a second leg down, but that's just not ideal to enter into that. But we do push on down here, and then we kind of just push on out, forming this wider downtrend here, which I had to do a little cut there. I'm going to try to see what it looks like from here really quick. So yeah, let me just zoom out here. We have this downtrend, break, pushing to a new low. We could easily reverse from here. Let me draw out this larger measured move really quick. So yeah, we're pretty far past it now. And like I was talking about earlier, how, we got this reaction to this measured move level right here. So we could get something up here. We could push back up with a failed second entry holding above, and we can look for a long. But with that being said, you do have a bearish bias, so make sure if you are still trading after this is uploaded, make sure it's a really good setup. Because even though the downtrend has played out, that doesn't take away the fact that it is a bearish bias. And, also with these 2 legs down here, on a bigger picture, this is really 1 leg. So we could end up looking for a reversal, but I wouldn't push the target too far, because say we get a decent reversal up to here, we could easily make a second leg down. So I think it's good to look for a reversal, but don't push your targets too hard or anything. We could get downtrend, break, first attempt lower, second attempt lower. So just wanted to point that out. It'd be nice to get a retest, a big picture retest of this overnight low to make the second leg down. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I hope it helped out in some way. I enjoyed making it, and I'll see you next time.